That's right. He's back. He just won the S-tier LAN, the biggest LAN of the year in Age of Empires 4, and he's already back on the ladder, grinding it up in a show match versus Sultanate. I am talking about the one and only Gentle Mates Marine Lord here, on his orangutan account, in the teal, playing as the Malians. And we are in Socotra, one of the maps from the tournament, but funnily enough, a map that did not get seen in the finals of Red Bull Willow El Renado. So far, though, in this series, let me flip that around because I got it the wrong way over. You might go, of course, Marine Lord's leading. He's not, folks. Marine Lord is getting led. Anatan won the opening game in this best of 5. We now head into a map where we've got very favorable civs here, actually. Two of the strongest ones you're going to find. Malian's definitely a very approachable civ on this map. Very powerful because of the short distance and the oppression of things like javelins in conjunction with the safe gold. But on the other side, Rus are ridiculous, actually, for multiple reasons. In Season 8, one of the big ones is how easily wallable the map is. The fact that you can use ball, which, by the way, the Malians cannot. Remember, they can't gather from that. And then there's also the fact that we have a Marine Lord spawn for Anatan. He got... Okay, this is ridiculous. He got Stealth Forest, Boar, and Berries all within range of each other towards his side of the map. This is perfect. I love the way Anatan began this, by the way. He wasn't ready just yet for the ball pool. So he started chopping a tree to gather a little bit of wood so that he could drop that off when he built the hunter cabin. Small details like that really do make the difference here, and you're already seeing the difference it's making to his economy. Marine Lord kind of struggling a little bit for a guy who only set up double house and instead is now going for a Rax play to try and contest Anatan. But this is going to come at a high price, right? This is going to hurt his own tech timing significantly. And I don't see him getting the Donzos out before Anatan has what he needs from this ball. Yeah, it's undeniable. This type of tracking, I mean, the ball gathering rate is by far the best rate you're going to find at this point in the game, right? The only thing that would be better is shoreline fish, and those can never be found in Socotra, because remember, although we are on a watery map, there is no fish in this sea. Yeah, this is like peering into the future. You know that when people like, think about the environment. We're killing all the fresh sea tuna. That's what happened here, guys. Tuna got canned up, got eaten up. There is simply no food on the water side in this map whatsoever. Great use of the small forest there. Anatan able to quick wall that up, and then he follows up by using his scout to delay the arrival of Donzo. And now it's going to be a rush to get the Kremlin online. More villages being pulled here. I'm starting to wonder, should Anatan have actually brought more out to the boar initially? I guess he was a little bit paranoid that there was going to be a Rax drop to begin with from Marine Lord. But this is where you have to be very careful. Second Donzo arrives. Villagers are going to start to get crippled pretty fast here. In fact, you might have to consider just shivving in return. Anatan. This is not comfortable. He's doing a good job of microing so far. Now, keep in mind, actually, Marine Lord hasn't been microing perfectly here. He could be Donzo sniping the villagers that are on low HP. Instead, he just keeps A-clicking in, and I don't know if that's intentional. He's finally going to be able to start sniping them, though. One goes down, second one's going to be stripped as well. Could be free easily here, which is a huge advantage considering this Mansa quarry is already on the way. Wow. What a hit. And considering he's got the Donzos with the Javelin recharge, he could have even got another there. So Marine Lord maybe kind of missed an opportunity to increase value further, but he definitely found a lot there. Now, his tackle time is admittedly going to be later. That's to be expected here. But he still has the 2 Donzo alive. He stripped 2 villages away. And it's more than a 2 eco lead when you consider details like the fact that the pit mine plus the Mansa is going to give the effect of about 4 extra villages between them. Yeah, tough for Anatan now. We are going to see him switching across on the tree line. Now, this is intriguing, actually. It looks like he's going to play a multi-TC build. Can't you just do this quicker as the Malians if you really want to turn it into a TC race? At this point, because of the damage done to your economy, the delays, right? I feel as if Marine Lord could do the same. Just do quicker. Because remember, they gave a really cool buff to the Malians that players have still been figuring out how to utilize perfectly, and that's the fact that you don't spend stone rather. You spend gold to get your TCs. You could even just argue an all-in here from Marine Lord would make a lot of sense as well. Love the fact he's shoving away the deer. Just trying to minimize any value the second TC is. It has been scouted over here. And that really was the spot that you want to go towards if you're at Anatan here, right? There's no value on the east side that really compares. You could get a TC drop between the berries and the deer, but it's nowhere near as desirable, right, as that full stack. Especially considering it's a double berry spawn next to there. All right, what do you think, guys? Ones, if you think the Malians have got this. Twos, if you think the Rus have got this. Kind of curious where people's biases will take them. Because it's kind of a tricky position with what Anatan is doing. He needs a viable TC, a justifiable TC. But I'm not seeing the freest of locations here. Especially considering that, I mean, he could go Militia. Is he really going to go for a TC on the Ford? Because that feels very dicey to me. I kind of get it, right? It's safe next to the Kremlin, and usually that's the whole point of the Kremlin is you want to set up near it so you feel content, bare minimum. But you're kind of playing into the same area you've already secured, right? Like, Boar has still got a lot of value, berries. I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. In an ideal world, this would have been the grab as the TC on this side with the deer. But Marine Lord already ruined that. Marine Lord himself, what are we looking at here? Oh, okay, you know how I mentioned Marine Lord spawn? This kind of feels like it a little bit, right? This is a really good position for the second pit mine. It's so close to his base, it's kind of ludicrous. And also, I feel like this is a bit more rare, is it's spawned inward. Typically, when you look around the outskirts of the map, you get these type of gold spawns. You're seeing them all over the place. But for some reason, and I'm pretty sure there's like a little line of code that says if name equal Marine Lord or orangutan, give good spawn, he gets this. Already has the cow ranches being set up, so I guess he's just going to turn this into a TC versus Castle's race. Anatan is going to need to apply some pressure. We've already got the archery range being dropped here. And Marine Lord needs to be a little bit careful this detail. This wall gives quick access for Anatan to his side of the map. It doesn't do it both ways. And also, like, adding in the ranches this way without any sort of defense force is very, very greedy. Right? I mean, your wood line is reaching a point where archers could start to kind of snipe in a little bit from outside of the range. In fact, I imagine we'll be seeing that very soon. I still just find it funny that Marine Lord goes and wins an SC LAN in Spain, gets home, and then 2 days later is like, let's play a $50 shit match. I can't get over that detail, right? It's funny as well because Marine Lord took like a long break when Rebel Lol's online component was happening. He even admits it, so he's like, yeah, I took a holiday, man. I didn't play for like a whole month. I'm wondering, like, what is the coming up that he's worried about? Because, I guess there's possibly one more EGC event this year, right? I was a little bit surprised that Marine Lord didn't take that time to try and play Myth, but I think I've talked about this before, and Mister really showed it as well. Is like this idea of taking a break, of actually giving yourself time to breathe and your brain time to reset is not a negative. It's absolutely a positive, right? Like, I think it's so underrated. When I watch players play 8 hours non-stop a day, I sit there and think, would it have been more value to play 3 hours of scrims and then just sit and maybe think and theorycraft out of the game for another 2 hours, right? And you're still spending 3 hours less. 5 games wasn't enough in Rebel. Oh, we'll talk about that later. I got some takes overall that people won't want to miss. Archership is going to arrive, though. This somehow turned into a water affair. It quite often reaches this point against Malians, right? Because they want to have that back goal. But unfortunately for Anatan, this is such a safe spawn for Marine Lord. There's no negative to now switching over onto this pit mine. Walls are also going up, so it looks like Anatan is trying to full hunker down. But with the javelins already in position, that's becoming more and more difficult. So he simply won't be denied. Marine Lord is looking to break through soon. Meanwhile, it looks like Anatan is getting ready to go age free here. And this has to be what? Just men-at-arms spam straight off? But you're seeing Teela's mirroring this timing, right? He went double ranch, third gets added in, and he's still close to what he needs to go for castle. I kind of prefer this approach, by the way, to just rushing all the ranches. I'd rather see a half food line in this situation because you need the appropriate units to counter what's coming next. Will you cast more AOM? I'm considering it. I think the problem of Age of Mythology is like there's an argument to be had that it's already capped on the viewership. And there's like the hard lesson I've learned over time is like people are very loyal to wherever they go, and it's hard to get them to come somewhere else, regardless of like what you do different actually, unless it's insanely different. But yeah, it's something I'm considering, maybe even playing some. I really did enjoy the MIF finals. They were incredible. But let's see how incredible this show match is going to be. Because I got to admit, although it had some banger moments, I think the 4 finals didn't really show off what players like Marine Lord and Puppy Paw are capable of. Anatan, though, more so than almost any player in the last 2 months, has, for the most, been on another level. High Trade House coming in, Grand Fulani Corral on the other side, and he is going to look to rush up and fill out those ranches alongside. It's a really good timing here. On the other side of this, that is... What? Wait, why are we placing the High Trade House here and not here? I'm kind of a little bit confused by his placement here. There's no reason to pick here over here, right? He definitely... Unless I'm being an idiot. Oh, no. Oh, no. It's that one tree. It's that teensy tiny little tree there. It's blocking him from the better position. That's so unfortunate. Well, Tech Up coming in. That's going to be a big difference as well. That would be like, what, probably an extra 40 gold, I want to say, roughly? I mean, we're generating 67 as it is. And that's on 1 tick, right? So it's going to up. Meanwhile, the waterside fight is increasing in pressure here. Although I think this is all a feigned bait now to try and get the presence on land, right? Like, the weird part to me is actually that Anatan opens up with the Raxes, but he's prepping crossbows straight away, even though they're countered. He's a little bit paranoid about the Sofas, understandably, but realistically, you need all that meat going into men-at-arms production now. So demo ship is going to have to back away. One of the ships does get taken down, so good defense here by Marine Lord. We do have the Javelins upgraded into the Veterancy as well. And it looks like he's going to start marching. And remember, these walls never went up. This is not your typical Roost game where they look broken. If you don't get the walls up, you are surprisingly vulnerable. And that's what we're about to see exploited. It's Jazz moving in. The fact that we don't even have men-at-arms is in fact just spearmen instead. Anatan doesn't have a good defense force, and he might be about to lose a few villages. Stab comes in. Looks like it's just going to be... Was that 2 going down? That might have been 2. We're up to 7 worker kills in total in this game, as there's been some chip damage over time. And that's important. Marine Lord understood that he couldn't just stay back and do nothing. You need to find pressure. Otherwise, 2TC does eclipse Fulani. Demo. He's going to get his trade out. Kind of a tricky situation here for Anatan, though. With the Javelins nearby, every time a boat comes out, it's not going to be looking spick and span basically as soon as it's born. And we also now have a Relic Grab underway. Anatan is trying to mirror this, but his timing is going to be worse. Remember, these Imams 150, but when you go for the Warrior Monks, they're 240 resources. So a lot more strain in your economy, especially in a position where you kind of need all your economy going into military. And Anatan has a really big macro issue here right now. Huge amounts of wood being gathered, but he needs food. Like, realistically, he needs to be out here on the berries and whatnot, but because the walls never went up, and because there are boats in play, it's simply too risky to come out for these resources. Scout and Javelin has given the early warning. Marine Lord now prepping to pull all forces to the west side of the map. Understandably, he wants to try and stave off the use of these berries and deer. He wants to force a farm transition, because if Anatan has to commit to a farm transition, it puts him further behind. Another stab. And Marino's just so good at doing this, right? Just find all this chip damage. It's kind of crazy when you consider we're on such a small map that Anatan is losing sight of these armies so often and losing villages because of it. You know, it's crazy as well, even more so because of his vision. Like, this kill here shouldn't be happening considering the Kremlin sees all. But it's because his distractions, right? Marine Lord isn't coming in one location. He's poking in 2 or 3 different points simultaneously. Looks like there's going to be an attempt to get a wall up here. It's going to come at a cost again, though, as more villages are going to be taken down. Javelins could even get another one. Although, a little bit of a missed micro, but made up for in the end. The double worker grab there. Marine Lord just on point, man. And now with the Sofa numbers building, Anatan is kind of tricky, right? Like, he doesn't have the food income to just spam spears non-stop. And as a result, he has to be more cost efficient. Well, crossbows are more cost efficient. They can be better defenders. But the issue in this situation is, although you need them against the sofa, you're countered by the javelins. So Marine Lord kind of has that perfect formula now to unravel Anatan's defense. If anything, he needs more of these, right? You've got the sprint placements coming in. Static defenses might be his best solution to holding here. Not if he keeps losing villagers like this, though. More going down. It's crazy. Anatan just kind of struggles to get beyond about a 10-villager lead. Textiles is finally coming in, realizing that, you know what, losing 14 villagers is not really acceptable here. Also losing the relic game, right? It's going to be a 3-1 final split. On top of that, sacred sites are accessible for Marine Lord. Anatan is at least going to be able to get the wall up on the north side. But I think we are approaching the shaky and untenable point here. Marine Lord is now marching around towards those back farms. They do have more sprint emplacements coming in, more walls as well to try and divide the map. You're quickly seeing why I love Socotra so much. Even when you try to take a defensive format, the game forces you to progress and aggress very quickly. Dive comes in. Wooden Fortress being assaulted. Army's looking to react. Javelins are going to die back to counter that. Going to be a poke and a retreat here. Spearmen are starting to come through. Now, this could be big. If Anatan can get the raw volume together here, he has one unit that can counter an entire army. But it is an uphill battle to get that online when Marine Lord keeps microing like this. Always just stabbing in, looking for those kills. Surface in the meantime, almost done with the Wooden Fortress. And Jav's actually making this a good trade. Needs to be careful now because he's getting pinched a little. Crossbow mass is getting pretty big. Archers to assist as well. Looks like he is going to have to keep retreating, so good hold by Anatan here. However, although the javelins may be dying, now look at the sofa count. This is a trade out. He's losing javelins to kill spearmen. And although crossbows can counter sofas, they have their limitations. And if they get caught outside of a choke point with this many sofa, they're going to discover those limitations quickly. Oh, Anatan trying to limit movement here. Oh, that was so close. He almost got him as well because the Stealth Forest was blocking line of sight there. So great idea by Anatan. Had he got that pinch, that would have been huge, right? Wiping out just 6 of these sofa and all the remaining javelins allows you to then pivot into just like mass spears to hold, right? Instead now we're going to get the secondary assault on the east side. Marine Lord bait him out of position and now comes in hard from the east. Anatan still once again struggling to get beyond 10 villages ahead in this game. And with Fulani on the other side, that means you're most definitely behind. More than that, you look like you're most definitely dead. Sofas are not done yet. With the important armors, they're going to start diving underneath the Kremlin. More villagers dying. Textiles can't even save them. And Anatan, this game looked like it was going to be his in the beginning. It looked like he had a solid formula to success here. But Marine Lord, calm and cool, collects his forts, collects his army, and finds a way to break him. And Anatan's military numbers are lying to you now, folks. 15 of those are the militia. This is not a strong and sturdy army like you'd hope for out of the roost at this stage. They've lost their eco lead entirely. Marine Lord also now has trebuchets starting to siege down the base. The Kremlin is the only reason that Anatan is not dead, and that soon could also be gone. Man, what a cool series this already is. Only the second game, but already going to end up being 1-1 apiece. And a miraculous way for Marine Lord to do this. I mean, I'm not kidding when I say Roos are strong here. Roos feels incredible on this map. The 2TC play kind of felt necessary after the damage you took on the opening, but it gives an opening to your opponent, right? And that's what Marine Lord's always so good at. He doesn't really let you get away with anything for free. I know, just trying to dive out. Pretty much his last hurrah here with the militia to try and do some semblance of damage, but struggling with that ticking health going down as it is. Trebuchets are going to survive, and I think that's going to be it. GG gets called. Marine Lord strikes back in the second game of this show match.